I'm Listerine, and here we cover stories about pop culture that I find interesting. I hope you find interesting too. All right, so just to this week, what I'm gonna go over is some stories I have that I have on the channel. I have SZA. I love her music, and I found her backstory even more interesting. So I did a video on her. I also did a short video on Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence's children. They're getting married. They're engaged. Eric Murphy and Jasmine Lawrence. They're engaged guys. They're getting married. So I covered a story on that. I did a short story on Barbara Cochran. So she is into more hybrid work. She doesn't believe that you can necessarily that working from home is great for people. But she's okay with hybrid if you do both ways. I just found that interesting because I know a lot of people there's a lot of big dispute going on about that. Should you go back to the office? Should you work from home? So I did that. And James Vander Beek, I did a story for about him. He has colorectal cancer, which I had to do that video twice because I did not realize that colorectal and colon cancer are a little different, although they're related but different. And then I also covered a story on Jonathan and Meagan, the the relationship, and how Jonathan came out with his hot body this week, and everybody found it so interesting. It sounded like people were changing their minds about him and the things that he does. So I found that very interesting as well. So those are the main stories that I covered on the channel this week. The thing about just to go over the first story, SZA. Um, the video that I have on the channel, I found her that she has a Muslim background. So she used to wear a hijab. She was Muslim, and then uh, things happened over the years. Or after 9/11, she kind of dropped the hijab, and she just went. She went towards. She worked even as a stripper for a short time. She also worked at a bar. She was jumping train. She just went through a period of transition, and then she got into her music. And I found it very interesting. How you doing? I found it very interesting her story. So I did a story on SZA. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, 9/11. Yes, that was SZA. She took off her job around that time. So I thought that was a very interesting story. So that's why I did that story. How you doing? When you guys come in, let me know where you're coming in from. Hi, Izzy. Hi. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. So I'm just going over the stories that I covered on the channel this week. So one of the next story that I cover was uh, Jonathan and Meagan. So this week they were out on the street, and TMZ caught up with them, and you know they were showing Jonathan's hot body, and it all over the internet. Hey, from America, okay, same here, New Jersey, and they were talking about her hot body. I mean, his hot body, Jonathan Major's hot body, and it sounded like people were ready to forgive him. They were like they understand now why Meagan, uh, is interested in him because of that. They just see they must be doing some good lovemaking or something. So I found that was pretty funny. The comments that were on TMZ and Shade Room. So that's why I did that story. But take a look at those if you can. So the next story that I covered. Oh, and guys, in the background, that's my flowers. This week was my birthday. So this week it passed. So I got some flowers. So I was excited about that. So I just kind of put those in the background for this week. Yeah, I don't talk. Okay. So as far as Jonathan and Meagan, the thing I like about as far as Jonathan and Meagan is like she doesn't care what people think. I find that she just does what she want to do. It's not anybody else's business. She's just enjoying him, loving her life, regardless of what people have to say. So I think that's very interesting between the two of them is that they're just living their life, and we're just out here watching and thinking whatever we want to think, but they're just going on and living their life the way they want to. So I also found that very interesting. Another story which I didn't cover on the channel, but I found interesting this week was that CEO that got killed in Manhattan, in New York City. Well, they call it New York City. I still call it Manhattan because it was originally Manhattan, although they call it New York City now. The whole city, the five boroughs to me is a city. But he got killed this week. And then there's all this speculation about what caused his death. Was it, some people are speculating it could be his wife. Um, that's what some people are saying. Other people are saying that it was somebody who didn't get health insurance, which, that's a possibility. But what I found interesting and is that there's so much, people are they're not sensitive to the fact that he's gone a lot of people. It's like, okay, he's a big CEO, he's been robbing people. The companies rob people. So they're lacking sensitivity in that way towards him, which, that's still a life. And I don't think that's a whole company who makes a decision on insurance and all of that, not just one person. So I don't see why they would, put so much hate towards him. He's just one person that's at the company. Although he's the CEO, he probably has a board and he doesn't make all the decisions. And there's a lot of people in between. So may he rest in peace. And I heard just today, about 2 hours ago, that they're actually closing in on the person who shot him. So it's going to be, they're just about close to getting that person. So let's see how that works out, if they're going to get him or not. Have you guys been following that story about the CEO that got killed? Let me know if you've been following that story. So the other, so that was just a story. I didn't cover that one on the channel, but I just found that very interesting that was going on with the CEO. So I've been following that story and just kind of watching that, and watching some of the different conversations around that. When I look at that one, there was a couple of things about that story that I found interesting. And so what they're saying, the murder occurred just before the company's annual investor conference at the Hilton Hotel on 6th Avenue, Manhattan, right? So what they're saying is the net is tightening, and Mayor Adams said to reporters that they declined to name any suspects, but they said that they're closing in on the guy. So let's wait and see who he is, what happened, or how this all took place. But definitely, I found that very interesting. The next story that I covered, I'm gonna pull that up, guys. As far as the James Vander Beek story, he was on Robin Roberts this week, GMA, and on GMA he got all choked up when he was talking about his wife, which was so sweet. But what I also found interesting, besides that part of the fact that he was talking about his wife and it was so sweet, is that his view on having colorectal cancer, he had like a beautiful view on it, which is in the video on the channel. So watch that and you'll see that his outlook was just refreshing and nice. And I just wish him the best and hope that he does come through with the cancer. I don't know what stage it was. They didn't say what stage cancer he was at. So hi Jamal. They didn't say what stage cancer he was at, but hopefully everything is good and he'll come through that well. So that was some of the stories I covered this week. Yeah, those were pretty much all the stories that I covered. And, so again, SZA, love her music, and I just found her backstory very interesting. And then Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, their kids Eric and Jasmine are engaged. Eric is 35, Jasmine is 29. So, and they look very happy. So that was a nice story as well. And then the Barbara Cochran story, which, she's from Shark Tank, James Van Der Beek, his colorectal cancer, and then Jonathan and Meagan. So those were the stories that I covered on the channel this week, guys. So if you get a chance, please go and watch those videos. And don't forget to subscribe and like the live, okay? I'm running out. I have a lot to do today, so I just came on for briefly to discuss that and let you guys know, hi, how you doing? And let you guys know about the stories that I covered on the channel this week. All right. So thank you. Have a good one.